So this is Chica's second time in the arena. I believe this is ride 12, maybe 13 for her. I just thought that I would share a little clip of her progress. Obviously I edited it down so you didn't have to watch half an hour plus of her walking around the arena. But I'm pleased with where she's at. This has actually been a really interesting kind of pseudo experiment for me to have two horses in very similar stages of their training at the same time. It's kind of fun to not necessarily compare, but see how well they're each taking the same concepts. Honestly, they are pretty similar. It's just a really cool thing for me to experience as a trainer, just officially stepping out there. So I like to spend some time in the round pen with horses before I take them out at the arena. I know some people don't use a round pen. For me, this is just what seems to work. I like getting some leg cues and some steering on them before coming out here. I just feel like it sets them up for me a lot more positively with a good experience in the arena from the get-go when we know how to steer in some of this stuff. So yesterday was the first day that she got to go in the arena, and really the only thing to make note of on that experience for her was she was a little unsure about this line here on the right side is what lines. It's all trees. It's almost an acre of just woods on that side. So a lot of the horses are usually a little bit skittish on that side. I'm sure there's animals going through there and scents and noises and scary fluttering leaves when there's breeze. So that was really the only thing to make note of yesterday with her, was just being a little bit cautious on that side. Today she was good about it. She, if it was her choice, probably wouldn't have been close along that fence line, but she was respectful of my leg and my hand asking her to stay. So we move into the trot after a good little warm up, and I'm pretty pleased with her guiding at this point. She does get, Chica just naturally, she wants to be a little, like she really likes to pick her head up and hollow her back in order to transition upwards. So being as she only has 12 rides or so, she doesn't really know how to transition up through her hip really well yet. I mean, we're working on that, but so I just try and focus on trying to balance her as best I can for her transition, so that we aren't just slugging into it with having to really leap her shoulder up in order to make that happen. But with her lope departure, what I am pleased about, I'd like to get her coming through more from the hip, but she's gotten really good in the last few rides about understanding that my outside leg sliding back into like C position is the lope off cue. I was a little bit unsure with her first couple of rides how she was going to be. She was really kind of dull. She wasn't really interested in moving forward. I've kind of struggled with that with her, just like our compatibility with that, I guess. But I've been happy with her response. It's been improving with every ride. So that's one thing I'm pleased about, is she is becoming a little bit more forward thinking than initially. So hopefully my initial judgment is incorrect, or that we're working through that. So she is not perfect about her steering. There's times where she would rather yield to the bit but not follow through with her body. It's just one of those things. It's like you either deal with not having the face but the body's going where you want, or turning the face in but the shoulder keeps going out. So that's just one of those things, just needing to reinforce outside leg cues. And honestly, a lot of it really stems from a lack of pushing and driving through from the back end. but she's going to learn that over time and build more strength to be able to do it adequately. It's actually really interesting because yesterday I hadn't rode her in about a week, and all of a sudden I had to let her cinch out like 2 holes. And the couple weeks leading up to this ride, she was feeling particularly downhill. She does still feel downhill when you sit on her, but she's definitely going through a growth spurt, which is nice. That stop that we just did, I was pretty pleased with. I've been starting to kind of up the ante with her a little bit, asking her to stop from a trot instead of just a walk, adding in some rollback stuff. Here I'm working on shaping her for the beginning steps of a turnaround. Her biggest thing with like this shaping for the turnaround stuff, she it's kind of funny. I was just saying she's getting more forward. Well, in this instance, the main thing is still getting her forward thinking. She's I don't know, I guess she's literally going forward, but she's not putting a lot of energy or effort into it. And so that's what I continue to keep asking her to do, is to stay forward, thinking forward ahead of my leg, a little bit more driving than what she naturally just wants to do. She kind of just wants to, in my opinion, like plod along. But I'm trying to build up her work ethic and be a little bit more interested in pushing and driving. Anyway, at the trot, I'm pleased with her. Like I said, this is all kind of a steering test. Try and not stay on the walls too much. Put my circles on either end or in the center. So we're really testing my leg cues, well, all my cues really, on if she can steer where I'm asking her and not just follow a wall. But I do also want to work on some straight lines. So there are times where I'll go down one of the long sides, either on the rail or off the rail. I was pleased with her lope departure here too. She's getting better about it, and we're not quite to the point where I can actually ask with a half halt with the outside rein, but that'll come in time. We'll get there. But yeah, what I was saying was just that we will spend some time going on circles and guiding, and then other times going down straight lines, because straight lines are actually seem to be a bit more difficult than circles. There was 2 times in this ride where she tripped, and I'm not sure if it's a lack of her pushing and driving from the back end. I've experienced that with horses in the past that are trippers, that it's really that they're not putting enough effort from their back end. But I did recognize that in the center of the pen, there were kind of some like wave lines from the last time that it was drug. It was drug a little bit wet. So it had kind of made some grooves in there. I am happy with where she's at here, naturally thinking about stopping a little bit better. One of the things that I do to start teaching them to stop, I don't set my hands together. I set like the outside rein and then pick up the inside in conjunction with my hand, my seat, my leg. That gives them something to not be able to brace on. Anyway, side note there. I am happy that she's finally starting to stop with a little bit more emphasis on her back end and less heavy on my hand. And then I reinforced it with a little bit of turnaround work because we hadn't done it this direction yet. The main thing I'm asking for here is to be forward and start stepping the inside foot around. She did really well there. Couldn't really ask for more. Had another decent little halt. Good girl. I'd like to get her back up a little bit more fluid, but we've got time to do that. But all in all, she was a good girl. I'm looking forward to the rides to come and her growing a bit more. But yeah, thanks for following along on her progress here.